Pod deck. We've been seeing actually a decent amount of Rug Pod this weekend. So I guess one of the first questions, before we've seen a lot of Nyapod, well, what's the blue for in this? The answer to that is, well, the deck is mostly a red-green deck. The blue is primarily for Phantasmal Image and a one of Ether Adept and Deceiver Exarch that we're seeing.
Yep, Dan's going to lead off with Copperline Gorge into Birds of Paradise. Robbie has an Evolving Wilds. It's going to go get an island.
Right, Robbie on the play here. So.
Yes.
In this sort of matchup, the Rug Pod deck is definitely is a deck that's trying to go at Delver. It's trying to have a combination of good late game threats and good early game action to sneak under a deck like Delver. Against a Solar Flare deck, and it is Solar Flare, he is, all his creatures are Phantasmal Image, Sun Titan, Elesh Norn, and he has Unburial Rites going.
Yes.
Robbie's going to try to... Robbie will be able to go over the top of Dan Musser. The Rug Pod decks are interesting insofar as they really don't have that big late game you'd expect out of a pod deck. The highest thing in this curve is a one of Inferno Titan, which actually is only 6. So the pod is a little more of a value card as opposed to, I'm going to crank out Praetors at you card.
Yeah. Robbie played a Go for the Throat on Bird of Paradise in order to slow down Dan Musser. And now he's going to copy the bird.
So an image on a Birds of Paradise either suggests that Robbie has no more lands and card draw, or that he has a really high-impact spell he wants to get to. And as we see him shuffle his hand, we see that Robbie has a Tamiyo.
Right, which if he has a land in there, he'll be able to cast next turn.
So we know that he has 3 Sun Titan, 4 Phantasmal Image, 1 Elesh Norn. What are the other ways that Robbie can, what are the things he's trying to build up toward?
Well, Robbie has 1 Gideon Jura and 1 Tamiyo the Moon Sage, in addition to a Liliana of the Veil, which is a little bit cheaper option.
Sure.
Robbie also has Lingering Souls, the full 4 of. And then 1 Unburial Rites, and those are his ways to win the game, basically.
So Bonfire the Damned
is going to take down the bird,
the fake bird of Paradise. Probably that's good on Robbie's side, as his plan is to get a Sun Titan out anyway. Bonfire the Damned, which is only a one of in Dan's deck, is fairly weak in this matchup. It hits next to nothing, so a good use of the card, provided that Dan didn't have another play.
Dan looks like he has a Green Sun Zenith in hand.
Yep, so the best target, so his targets for Green Sun Zenith, obviously he's 4 Huntmaster of the Fells, probably his go-to card. He also has a Wolfear Silverheart, an Acidic Slime, and a Borderland Ranger, in addition to Stranglegeists that he can get with it.
And this is going to go get a Huntmaster of the Fells?
Yeah, pretty strong card. Not as strong against control as it is against other decks, as cards like Black Sun Zenith actually answer it quite well.
Although it turns out Robbie with the Tamiyo can't answer the Huntmaster nearly as well.
Definitely not. So Robbie's going to need some sweepers, or maybe just an individual kill spell.
This looks like a Sun Titan, Swamp, 2 Lingering Souls.
That is an excellent draw there for Robbie. He's putting the Sun Titan in the bin, suggesting he has probably another Sun Titan in his hand, would be my guess. He doesn't have any white mana, so maybe he just has no ability to cast it. But with an image art in the yard, he almost... Yeah, and he does have another Sun Titan in hand. With the image in the yard, he just wants to set up that chain where he gets, 2 or 3 Sun Titans when he gets to 6. His primary concern is he just would prefer not to flip the Huntmaster for Dan Musser.
I imagine his I don't want to say only option, but best option may be to just run the Tamiyo out there. Now that he's seen the bonfire, he can assume that he certainly can't anticipate a bonfire if Dan is running any more than one, which as it turns out, he's only running the one of Bonfire the Damned.
Right, so he's in a flashback Lingering Souls, which is a pretty good play here.
Yep.
Like I said, he wants to make sure that he's not the one that flips the Huntmaster of the Fells.
He's actually going to
play both of them. Sure.
Putting 4 power onto the board, just as Dan Musser did.
Yeah, my guess is that he has his 6th land in hand with a play like that. And remember, it does have to be an untapped white mana, but judging by that, I think he's going to have that coming.
So Dan's mulling over his options here. It looks like he might have the Inferno Titan in hand.
Yeah. The question is he wants to be sure that he's not playing into a sweeper. Remember, Inferno Titan is the largest card in Dan's deck, and actually his only 6 drop. All right. So, Dan contemplating here. You know, the Inferno Titan might not be... He probably still needs to play into a potential Wrath. On the current board, he doesn't have much action going on. He's going to give Robbie far too many turns. So yeah, the Inferno Titans will come down, take out 3 of the Souls tokens, and Dan will crash in for 4 damage here. Inferno Titan, pretty nice in that it gives him a lot of options to compete with Sun Titan, because Inferno Titan, because of its ability to divide damage anywhere, it'll really neutralize the Phantasmal image that would be on a Sun Titan. You can pick the Sun Titan, the image as one of the targets, assign damage to it, but then because it says divided evenly, it'll die, and all the damage will go to whatever else you assign it to. At 5 lands, not a 6th, Robbie has Tamiyo the Moon Sage. It'll tap down the Inferno Titan. He's going to play a Seachrome Coast. So he does have a 2nd white. It does come into play tapped. So, all right.
So Tamiyo did come down for Robbie.
Yep, so the Inferno Titan's being kept tapped here. Robbie only has the ability to deal 4 damage to it. If he plays no spells this turn, then on the untap he can kill the Tamiyo. But that will give Robbie the chance to cast Sun Titan here. So I think he's instead just going to continue to commit to the board. A dangerous proposition. It's actually safe here. Robbie doesn't have the sweeper yet. In his main deck, Robbie has 2 Day of Judgment and 1 Terminus as a sweeper.
Yeah, slightly fewer sweepers than traditional lists that I've seen, which typically have between 4 and 5.
And remember, in the top 8 of an event, these players will have access to each other's deck list. So not during a match, but before and after. So Dan may be keenly aware of this fact.
Ah, there's a Birthing Pod from Dan.
Right. Birthing Pod is going to turn the Huntmaster of the Fells into possibly a Wolfir Silverheart or a Zealous
Could also be a Zealous Conscript to untap the
Inferno
Inferno
Titan.
This will let the Wolf and Zealous Conscripts attack Tamiyo.
So you can go 2, 1, and 2 redirected at Tamiyo.
So Robbie will go
3, and he'll take 8.
Yeah, or he'll just die.
Robbie will concede there. He's not actually.
Oh, he's not actually dead, but he's very close.
He's getting a concession there.
Yes.
Really? He doesn't have the sweeper. I don't believe that's lethal, but.
So let's see. It was 6.
A scoop there.
It was 6.
Plus just goes all at the player. Is that lethal?
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then
fire breathing.
And then fire breathing for 2.
Okay, so he actually
14,
does have
15.
All right, so we're going to take a break from our match here. As those of you remember, it's been quite a long day, but during the top 8s of our Standard and Legacy Opens, we usually ask our followers on Twitter a question. As we progress through the top 8, each question, if you answer us, has a reward to it. So a prize that we're giving out. You just have to tweet the answer and make sure you have the hashtag SCG Premium. You can see it under Ruben's name there.
Right. Where is it?
Although I know it's reversed.
Right
I know.
There. Right here.
I mean, no, the other one now. SCG Premium.
Oh, this is SCGINVI, but you have to do SCG Premium. Where is it? Oh, it's below my name. It's there.
Right
See
there.
where my finger is? All right, there.
Tweet the answer. Put that hashtag on it.
You have to put SCG Premium in the answer.
All right. Well, enough of that. Let's go on to the question.
All right. So, Matthias.
All right.
We have 8 players in the top 8 of the Invitational.
Okay, that's true. I hope so.
Don't tweet true. That's not the question.
All right.
We have 8 players in the top 8 of the Invitational, but only one of those players is attempting to go back-to-back as Invitational champion.
So I need to know someone.
Who is that player?
Who's won an Invitational. Now, it has to be back-to-back,
Back-to-back. Has to have won the previous Invitational.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to have to be a little careful with my answer there. Well, anyway, should be able to figure that out.
I think I have faith that you can figure that one out.
All right. Well, you guys have computers with you. You can figure it out.
Right. I have faith that you guys can figure it out as well.
To figure it out.
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
So make sure to
rack your brain.
Right. Yeah, I'll be doing that. All right. Get your answer. Tweet it with hashtag SCG Premium on it. This is for, I believe, 3 months of SCG Premium. 3 months of free SCG Premium.
And tomorrow morning, when we do the semifinals, we'll be giving away 6 months of SCG Premium. And then, during the finals of the Standard Open, we will be giving away a Gen Con badge.
Which takes place here in Indianapolis, in this very room will be Gen Con.
Here we're taking a look at the respective players' sideboards. This is the top 8, so the players and the folks at home can take a look at the lists rather than just listening to us talk about it.
Right. So what we'd see out of Rugpod, he wants some bigger things to go over the top. The Consecrated Sphinx will likely come in. Hell Riders possibly will come in. I believe he will use them over the Huntmaster of the Fells, in that they have haste. They're much better against kill spells. The Hound of Gristlebrand may come in for the 4th one on top of that. It's a little more robust against kill spells and against removal. Of the other cards we see in his deck, it's possible if he believes his opponent, he knows his opponent only has a few planeswalkers, so the 1 Zealous Conscripts he has is probably enough. I imagine he won't board in too many other cards. Possibly the Kessig Wolf run over some of his mana creatures, just as something that's actually a better threat.
Now on Robbie's side, he's got lots of 1s and 2 ofs. He's sort of basically got a 75 card deck that he can only run 60 of at a time.
Sure.
And he's got some options that he can go into. One of the cards that I expect to come in is the Consecrated Sphinx, since Dan has really no way to answer it.
Right.
That'll refill his hand, giving him far more options. The extra Day of Judgment and the extra Terminus. The extra timely
sweepers are very good here. He does not have main deck. He may not have many answers to an active pod. But remember that Rugpod is actually a deck that does not use pod in the same way that other ones do. You may be tempted to board in the Divine Offerings. Now, we may see Robbie do that. My own opinion would be that I would probably stay off the Divine Offerings and attempt just to kill all the creatures that he plays.
I would also expect the Timely Reinforcements to make an appearance.
Yeah, Timely Reinforcement is one of those trickier cards. It's very good in a matchup where you're always going to be behind on life total and creatures, but you have to make sure that some aggro decks win by pushing damage and some win by establishing board presence. And you have to make sure that you want to use it against the damage type, but against the board presence type, say a Maverick style deck, that kind of card actually will not be as effective. Here, though, I think I agree that it's probably coming in.
On Dan's side of the board, I would expect the Hell Riders and the Hounds to come in for the Huntmasters.
Absolutely.
Do you think that he'll bring in Zealous Conscripts?
I think the one of he has as a pod target is probably enough.
Okay.
He has to still remember that he's the aggro deck here. A 5-mana 3/3 without, there won't always be a good target for it to steal. I would imagine. I think he might leave the extra ones in the board.
So the players are drawing their opening 7. Robbie is on the play, mulling his decision over if he's going to keep. I'm not sure I saw a land in Robbie's.
It looks like something, and the way, body language says that. It looks like he's not particularly happy with his hand.
This is a little bit of showmanship from Robbie trying to decide what to do here. He's almost certainly going to
mulligan. He's going to keep.
Oh, he's going to keep. I didn't see a land, so...
there's got to be. I'll put him past keeping a 0 lander.
Yeah, but he also had a Ponder, so if he has a 1 lander with a Ponder, and I just didn't happen to see it.
Remember, a 1-land Ponder is one of those tricks which is not typically a keepable hand.
Right.
Ponder. Remember, when you do choose a card off it, then you're faced with having to draw the other 2 cards, which means you're actually just playing 1 blue draw card if you're fishing for lands.
Right.
For it.
Robbie is going to search for an island with his Evolving Wilds. Dan Musser leads off with a Llanowar Elf. The mana bugs, very important to Dan's strategy.
His good spells all start at 3, really. Strangled Geist is probably the exception to that. But one of the things, especially about green decks and Standard, is without Strangled Geist, most of the good green cards really cost 3 or more, which is why these mana creatures are so important to this kind of strategy. So Ponder from Robbie, like I said, we believe he's looking for more lands, but like I said, Ponder not a great card for doing that. Say you see 1 land and 2
1
spells,
land there and 2
with
spells.
You keep it, you're consigning yourself to actually getting land stirred.
Yes.
And he's going to keep it. He has a 2nd land. Just Isolated Chapel, and we'll pass the turn.
He has a Dark Slick Shores as his 3rd land.
And a Forbidden Alchemy, which should put him just fine. All right, Birthing Pod resolves here over for Dan Musser.
A quick update of the other games. Michael Marlowe on Blue Black Zombies is up a game over Logan Mize, who's playing Wolf Run Ramp. Brad Shepard is up a game with Blue White Midrange over Ian Farnung's Blue Black Tezzeret deck that was a ton of fun to watch. And Ross Merriam with Blue White Delver is up a game on Josh Glantzman, who is playing Rugpod. And here, obviously, Dan Musser up a game on Robbie Cordell, Rugpod over Solar Flare. So Dan Musser got his Llanowar Elf.
Their throat was went
Yes.
for. Robbie was probably scared that was going to turn into a Stranglerootgeist, something which is much harder to kill. Robbie now is pondering, I believe.
Right,
Yeah,
but the damage has been done. That was a turn 2 birthing pod for Dan Musser, and he's got plenty more animals at his disposal to be able to
the
turn.
birthing pod is going to just be a source of value from this whole game. It's really going to force Robbie Cordell to make his land drops and make his titans, because Robbie's not going to be able. Eventually, Dan will overwhelm Robbie.
This is the Stranglerootgeist that you got as a game day reward.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really strong here. Like I said, the way that Robbie will stop.
Yeah, and Robbie just drew a Day of Judgment, not particularly good against Stranglerootgeist.
No, not particularly. It would probably be good here because Dan will be tempted to pot away the Stranglerootgeist.
And I would imagine that is what he would do.
Evolving Wilds down for Robbie Cordell. And what are we going to see from Dan? Dan's aware there will be sweepers here, but he's going to try to shove damage very quickly. If he has a card like Hell Rider, it would be an excellent play right now.
He also has a Phantasmal Image, which he can copy this Stranglerootgeist.
Which is very strong.
Be able to get extra value out of it. So he can play the Geist, copy the Geist, go get a 3-drop and attack for 5?
Yeah, possibly depending on what the 3-drop is. So yeah, what he could do actually is copy it, 3-drop, then get Deceiver Exarch, untap pod, sack Deceiver Exarch,
and go get the Hound.
I'd say Hell Rider if he put one in, and that would potentially then swing for 11.
Yeah,
this turn.
Although if he puts Robbie on Day of Judgment, he might go get the Hound.
Right.
There's Dan. This deck has a lot of decisions, and I was commenting that he has been an expert at this deck for a long time, ever since he played the Splinter Twin Deceiver Exarch version of Rugpod. That actually had a 4th color for a Totem Guide Heartbeast to go get Splinter Twins. So he's been on the Rugpod plan for a long time, so he knows this deck in and out. This, I believe, his first top 8 with the deck.
Yep, so he is chaining up to a 4-drop. We'll see if he's either got the Hound or the Hell Rider. The fact he's doing it pre-combat, well, means he really could have any of them. Hell Rider, I think,
suggest he has the Hell Rider.
And he's going to go Metamorph. Okay, so he's going to go Metamorph for Stranglerootgeist, which is also a very good play. Remember that Metamorph next turn can chain up into a Zealous Constricts and Acidic Slime.
I cannot. No, it's a 2-drop now.
Okay. Oh, it's a 2-drop. All right. Okay.
So it can chain up into a 3-drop. Although he is attacking for 7 here. So Robbie down to 11.
Now the interesting decision by him is to use the Stranglerootgeist as the sacrifice target. The problem is he's actually a little weak toward Day of Judgment right now because these won't be able to undie back as Stranglerootgeist.
Now the Metamorph will be able to come back as a birthing pod. But yes, it is a little bit interesting that he didn't. He decided to.
On it.
Yes. Just in case it gets activated by a Tezzeret, it'll be a 6/6.
It would be a 6/6.
Choosing not to Day of Judgment here.
I think he's waiting for Dan to commit a little harder into the board.
Yeah. Putting the full 4 onto the battlefield.
All right. So Dan Musser drawing a 5th land that turn.
Was not the Bonfire of the Damned, so the army of spirits on Robbie's side of the board survives.
And we get Acidic Slime from Dan Musser. Very key right here.
I agree. Taking out the black mana from Robbie Cordell.
Yeah, Robbie's still having 1, but the second black will cut him off. Well, not too many spells.
So
all the things undie back. Robbie couldn't do it faster.
So those are both going to undie back as acidic slimes. Wow.
Right, which is why he plays it pre-combat so that those blocks are bad. I feel like Robbie may not have seen that there.
Yeah, I agree. Dan knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, Dan couldn't put them in the yard quicker. Robbie's in pass turn. He just needs to survive a turn here to hopefully Day of Judgment everything.
Ross Merriam defeats Josh Glatzman 2-0 with Blue White Delver to move on to the semifinals. He will be facing the winner of this match tomorrow morning.
Right. Yeah, he'll still be facing the winner of the match. Yep, Ross Merriam, a player I believe from the New York area, has made a pretty solid PTQ grinder. This being he top 8 at a Legacy Open we had a few weeks ago, and this is his first Standard Open, making the top 4. I talked with Ross actually before this round, and all day he was asking me, hey, you're doing coverage, can I get a feature match? And I was, you could tell me his record kept getting better. And first I had to say, no, we're covering the Invitational. I'm really sorry today. So then finally start covering it. So he says, hey, I'm 6-1. Can I get a feature match? I said, well, what are you playing? His answer's Delver. I said, well, no, that's
unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. I was like, okay, we've seen a lot of Delver today. I tell you what, I don't think we're gonna give you a feature match, but you can always take it into your own hands. I said, if you win out, we'll be forced to give you a feature match. And he's taken that one to heart for sure. So Robbie Cordell trying to stay alive for one more turn so we can get this Day of Judgment off.
Nope,
and that doesn't get it. It's a concession. Dan Musser wins 2-0 over Robbie Cordell. He will advance to tomorrow morning where he will play Ross Merriam in the semifinals for a spot of the Standard Open.
Yep, Dan Musser very